But I just can't help but look at this illustration of Anya and think that she would make for an excellent World Ends With You character.
I am the War Chief.
Hello, my friends, and welcome. We're in session once again for another Hololive reaction. And this time, we have Anya's cover of Marshall Maximizer. All I can tell you is that thumbnail art is really freaking cool, but I know nothing about this song whatsoever. And but what I do know is that Anya is a very underrated singer. So I'd like to see what she's going to do with this one. Let's just jump right in, shall we? As usual, we're going to have a quick pass and then a lyric breakdown. And it looks like we're going to be underlining the quick and quick pass because this song is under 3 minutes. It's only 2:45, which I did not expect. But let's just get right into it, shall we? Oh. Alright, I like that we're using a piano. It's a high tempo and pretty upbeat. And I love the look that she has going here. That hoodie looks good on her. Oh, very cold vocals, huh? Nice blending there. Good harmonies. So this tone, what I'm getting at is that the pitch of the song is pretty even. Doesn't really have that many ups and downs so far. But this feels like it's building up to something. I like that little animation we have going. There we go, there's that intensity that we were waiting for. Built up to a good payout. I wonder what the lyrics do mean. And also, the way Anya's glaring at you right now is like, oof, pretty intense. Also, is it just me? But I just can't help but look at this illustration of Anya and think that she would make for an excellent World Ends With You character. I really like when the blending comes in. It's funny how the vocals are actually a little bit slow in terms of pace, but the tempo and the beat is pretty fast, so there's this interesting contrast happening. It gets faster, build up, fake out. I thought we would get the immediate payout. There we go. That smug Anya though. Look at that smug look. That's an amazing face. That could be an emote or something for sure. Ikimin Anya. So what's really pushing this song is the intensity of how hard you're going in with the beat. Because that beat is really carrying this whole thing. And then it ends just like that. I thought there was gonna be a lot more. Well, that's what we get with a 2:45 song, I guess. It feels like there was so much more to be. There was still more to follow there, and then it just like cuts off. So that was an interesting sort of exercise in vocals because it wasn't the kind of song that would really test your limits in terms of your pitch control or what do you call it? Your pitch control or your range. But this one is more of how much voice control you have in terms of intensity. Because for a lot of parts, her vocal pacing was a lot slower than what the tempo of the song would have you expect. And that creates a very interesting duality and a contrast to it. And then only in the chorus does the vocal part match the beat and intensity of the beat and the instrumentals. Okay, so I am going to grab my lyric sheet. I know there were some of you here. We're only here for the quick pass, and I know that was a very quick pass, but I appreciate you all the same. Thank you for dropping by. For those of you who are here for the lyric breakdown, well, let me just open my lyric sheet and I'll be right back. All right, so now I have my lyric sheet open, which is surprisingly long for a song that's this short. It looks like this is going to be packed. We're going to be pausing a lot here and there. Okay, you guys, here we go then. Oh, let me rewind this all the way back. Wonder what that sound effect is. I wonder why that's the way they do the intro. Let's go through the song and let's see if anything is going to be made clearer in a bit. In the morning, I helped you with a critical experiment. This despicable slave ridicules the 14 pounds. Guess it can't be helped. I'm watching you who's pretending to be a crazy person. Okay, so we are going to have to be pausing here and there because she went through that. She went through that pretty fast. I helped you with a critical experiment, and this despicable slave ridicules the 14 pounds. 14 pounds of what, I wonder? I guess it can't be helped. I'm watching you who's pretending to be a crazy person. So all I can tell right now is that there was a critical experiment. We don't know if that turned out good or if it turned out bad. Well, we'll go and see what else she has to say. It was so troublesome, so I slayed it. I take off this brand that labels me a size for you. I'm terribly sorry, but I idly burden the things I walk by with my expectations. What was troublesome? Is there something that went wrong in this experiment then? But what is it that's been made troublesome? I take off this brand that labels me a size for you. That's an odd thing because I don't even know, well, at least here in the West, I don't know what the size for you would translate as. Or I'm not even sure if that's a literal size or a reference to something else. I'm terribly sorry, but I idly burden the things I walk by with my expectations. This is now giving me this sense of negativity going on. It's not necessarily that whatever experiment was referred to in the first verse essentially failed, but there's something going on here. All right. Staying up late is the rampage of id. The sensitization of blue was etched into my eyes. A moratorium-like life. Okay, time out. The sensitization of blue was etched into my eyes. A moratorium-like life. The greatest common divisor is package cushioning. If you sleep right after eating, you'll turn into an ox. Are you a savage if you wake up and go back to sleep? There is a lot to unpack there. So staying up late is the rampage of id. Now, id is just psychology's way. It's a fancy way in psychology to refer to the ego or the self. I'm not going to get into too much detail about it. And of course, the purists, the people who do understand psychology on a much deeper level, will be able to give you an entire lecture on this thing. But in essence, the id is the self in a way. All right? So essentially it's saying that staying up late is the rampage of your ego, in the fact that perhaps you're staying up late for this experiment because you have the utmost confidence or probably overconfidence in yourself that you'll be able to get something out of it. The sensitization of blue was etched into my eyes. Now, if this was a chemical experiment, that it would make a bit of sense. because certain chemicals do burn blue. And if that was the intention, if the blue was etched into your eyes, I don't know, the way that's phrased tells me that probably was not the desired result. And then we have that line, a moratorium-like life. Now, my goodness, there's so many terms in this one. A moratorium, I just went into the dictionary to make sure. This is a temporary ban of an activity. So you can have a moratorium on the use of something, Now, in this case, a moratorium-like life. So it's probably telling you that because whatever happened, whatever experiment occurred, the result ended up burning blue. Now there's a ban on something. The greatest common divisor is package cushioning. Now that's an odd term. Why would package cushioning be the greatest common divisor in this sort of experiment? Perhaps it's telling us that something went wrong, maybe in the transportation of these chemicals, possibly, because you do need cushioning to prevent it from moving around when you're transporting it from one area to another. There's a lot going on here. And then another thing here says, if you sleep right after eating, you'll turn into an ox. That to me just sounds like an Asian stereotype. It's not just a Japanese thing. It's even in the Philippines we have those superstitions of don't sleep while your hair is wet, or don't cut your nails in the evening. Don't well, this one is don't sleep right after eating. You'll turn into an ox. I mean, they're probably just going to tell you that to, especially to kids. They tell you that just so you don't get a stomachache. Because sometimes if you're still too full and you fall asleep, it does end up hurting your stomach. And they'll say, oh, you'll turn into an ox. But it's really just a preventative thing. It's just telling you not to do this thing. Are you a savage if you wake up and then go back to sleep? Essentially, you wake up and you go back to sleep in defiance of whatever ban was put in place. Good grief, this is going to be a long one. Okay. Then, maximizer. Even though I broke it at the same time as the plot twist, I'm still about to be dead. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. However, the handle turns and binds us, mate. Alright, that was very fast. Sunk coster. A sunk costess. So, are you guys familiar with the sunk cost fallacy? A sunk cost fallacy is essentially it's when you continue to put in time and effort into something because you've already been putting the time and effort into it for a very long time. The best example I can think of this is a gacha game, honestly. Because gacha games do lull you in for the long run, and there are some people who just keep playing these games even if they're not happy with it anymore because, oh, I've already spent so much time and effort into this, it would be a shame to just have that all go to waste. That's a sunk cost fallacy. Now, in this case, it's inferring that whatever experiment has been going on here, that the person in charge of it is already a sunk cost. There's so much time and effort that's gone into it, even though it's not really amounting to anything, but they keep going because they've already put in so much time and effort into it. Oh my goodness. I want to take back the isotope in the end. You're falling into the final circle of hell. You're falling. But a dazzling unbalance deviates far away. Okay, now that's an interesting thing. It outright mentions an isotope. That is something you'd find in chemistry. Goodness, it's like I'm giving you guys a lecture now. Like we all went back to school. But the simple point of it is an isotope is an atom that has a different number of neutrons. Because you know how an atom is made up of three basic parts, which is the protons, the neutrons, and the electrons. An isotope is an atom that has differing numbers of neutrons within the nucleus. The dangerous part about that is, without going into the nitty gritty, isotopes can be radioactive. There are certain chemicals that, if there's an imbalance in the number of neutrons in the nucleus, it can cause it to become radioactive. So now this puts a lot of light onto this experiment. You're falling into the final circle of hell. You're falling, but a dazzling unbalance deviates far away. Now, I'm not sure if that unbalance is referring to that entire chemical structure, but there's a lot going on here. Now it's telling me that this thing is going very wrong, very fast, and the consequences are irreversible. Let's go. Keep going. Who knew that a song this short would be hiding this much in it? Coming back to life, the alarm dispatches an experiment. Inferiority smiles at the rondo of the old four. I say it's hopeless, so, to you who mimics a crazy person. If you want to place your trust in simple words, it's not good enough. If you're sorry, you can't just suddenly demand for a solution from the matching sounds. Ooh. Oh boy. Oh, rondo. That's a word that came up in what do you call it? In Crony's song 2 of Daydream. A rondo is a musical form with a leading theme, often found in the final movement of a sonata or a concerto. Now, inferiority smiles at the rondo of the old four. It's like a musical movement. Maybe this is just referring to just the group of the old four. Inferiority smiles at the rondo of the old four. I say it's hopeless. So at this point, there seems to be a lot of discouraging comments about what you're supposed to be doing. It's like, okay, your experiment was a failure. You gotta hold back. You gotta stop. You gotta do all this, all that, and it's not good enough. Here we go. This is gonna be fast again. Jesus, she's speaking this so fast too. Okay. Pause here. Regret is the rampage of ego. Here we go again. You see, now it's saying that it's not just id, it's just saying regret is the rampage of ego. Earlier, it said that staying up late is the rampage of id. Now, id can be distinguished from the ego, but I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty, too many details of that. The after image of blue is scorched on my hands. Oh. A moratorium like human. The least common denominator is the guillotine? That sounds... Yes. If you sleep right after eating, there you go, the superstition again, you'll turn into an ox. Are you a savage if you wake up and go back to sleep? Oh, God. At that point, your least common denominator is the guillotine, which just is, in so many words, just trying to say death is the escape. Yikes. You really got me, Maximizer. Even if we wait for and burn love and salvation, it'll fade into murder. Hold on, just going too fast. Oh my god, I'm gonna live. However, resentment surges, and we enter a gate to disaster again. So at this point, there is an experiment going on for sure. And burning love and salvation is just a metaphor for what really happened. It'll fade into murder. This one's just, I feel like, an allegory for something in life that you can't just live off of love purely. Fade into murder. That's a very cynical way of looking at it. All right. Maximizer. Here we go. Even though I broke it at the same time as the plot twist, I'm still about to be dead. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. However, the handle turns and binds us. Me. It's like checkmate. Okay, sunk costess. This is what we were saying about earlier. We're talking about earlier. I want to take back the isotope in the end. You're falling into the final circle of hell. You're falling, but a dazzling unbalance deviates far away. Maximizer. When she goes fast, she goes really freaking fast. X00? Huh, wait. I just realized something. Let's rewind. Intro. Pay close attention. Yeah. You hear that? At first, when I heard that, I thought it's kind of like it sounds a little bit similar to cicadas, but it didn't necessarily sound like an insect. And then it hit me. We're talking about chemical experiment, scorched blue, isotopes, radioactivity. That could be a Geiger meter, a Geiger counter. Are you guys familiar with that? That is the electric instrument that they use for detecting radiation levels in an area. Right? Doesn't it feel like it could be a Geiger meter? So that tells you immediately from the start that there was a massive failure in the experiment. Because a Geiger counter or a meter, whatever, it'll only make those clicking sounds if it detects radiation. So that means that whatever project, whatever chemical experiment was being referenced in this entire song ended up being a massive failure. And the song is now going through the motions of telling you about that in so many words, of telling you, I helped you with the experiment. It didn't work. I'm sorry. You're staying up because your ego, your pride can't handle it. And it's a sunk cost. It's a sunk cost at this point. You're still investing so much time and effort, even if you know it's a failure. You want to take back the isotopes in the end, inferencing radioactivity in the failure of an experiment. Your hands are scorched blue. See, that's the term here. The after image of blue is scorched on my hands. It means it burned. The chemicals burned on your hands and it burned blue. Now that tells me that is definitely an indication of failure, because in chemical experiments, you want to have as much control as possible. Anything that happens within these chemical reactions are kept in your controlled environment. So for it to scorch your hands blue, and now the radioactivity counter, the Geiger meter, is just ticking. Yikes. I did not expect that we would unpack that much from a song this short. I guess it was telling when the lyric sheet was that long, huh? All right. I've talked your ear off enough. Let me get out of here, because this ended up being a longer video than I expected for such a short song. There were so many terms and so many things that we had to kind of look up a bit, because it was so complicated, packed so much in those lyrics. My goodness. Alrighty then. I hope you guys enjoyed that analysis that borderline became a lecture in chemistry and a tiny bit of psychology. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Do you agree with my interpretation? Do you have do you see it in a completely different light? Let me know. And of course, if you'd like to hang out with us, the community Discord link is in the description below. Please remember to like and subscribe. And with that, our session is adjourned. Everybody, please take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. This is Senator Warchief signing out. Bye-bye.